My name's Kenley Eaglestone. I am an attorney. I focus on trademark and copyright law. Today I'll be talking to you about some things that are relevant to you as documentarians.
The legal issues that most filmmakers are most aware of is just the need to get release forms for anyone who appears on camera. So really important, even if you're making a student documentary.
You need to have your subjects sign an agreement that they agree to be interviewed and for you to have use of this footage. Or you need to have them say it on camera.
Anything that you know is going to be a primary subject or content in your documentary, you should definitely think about release for those things. People, so anybody who's you're in an interview or is going to appear multiple times, you should think about release. Anything that's going to be the kind of primary subject in terms of it's like artwork or something like that, you should think about release. Like anything that's really critical and central to your piece, you should think about releases for those things and those people.
Where people tend to have a lot of questions is, you know, if I'm dealing with a really large crowd of people, do I need to have a release form from everybody in that shot?
If you're in a public place and you're taking footage of other people who are in a public place, provided they don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in that place, you do not need permission to shoot them.
If we're just on the street, people walk by, they don't have an expectation of privacy and they're walking down the sidewalk.
If you're in a public place and you can see something like someone showering in their bathroom, you cannot shoot it because that person has a reasonable expectation of privacy in their home, in their shower, in their bathroom. There are also places in public though where people have reasonable expectations of privacy. Public restrooms, dressing rooms, doctor's offices. If you have a question about whether there might be a reasonable expectation of privacy, that would be a time when I would suggest getting permission.
If you're in a kind of private space and other people are walking around, they haven't just given their rights to you to film them. I've been filming these like comedy shows. It's mostly about the comedians, and obviously they've given their, permission and all the rest of that. But there are always a handful of shots of like people in the audience or whatever. And just because you pay to go to a comedy show doesn't mean that you've like given up all rights to your image, unless that's made clear. There's announcements made, there's signs posted, like if you're here, you're gonna show up on film, and by being here and buying a ticket and sitting in this audience, you've given us the right to use your image. That often needs to be stated verbally or posted somewhere or both. You're in a place where you normally expect privacy or at least not to expect to be filmed, and then you're being filmed.
If you are shooting at a football stadium, you do not need to get a release from every person who's in that stadium. The rule of thumb is that as soon as the shot is close enough that an individual is really identifiable and the average viewer is really likely to be able to sort of pick them out of a group, then you should be getting a release form.
No one has ever gotten in trouble for asking too much permission. So even if it's not absolutely necessary or you're not sure if it's necessary, err on the side of asking permission, getting release, and that kind of thing.
You see a lot of times, particularly on the nightly news and in other contexts where you don't always have time to organize release forms, a lot of shots of people's feet or the back of their heads, people shot from behind, sometimes things shot out of focus. So there are a lot of things you can do if you don't have releases to protect yourself.